Hello, and welcome to Tools for Success Counseling. I am so excited to introduce today's guest, Lauren Buckley. Lauren Buckley is a licensed professional counselor and national certified counselor with a passion for helping new parents and couples navigate the challenges of life, relationships, and parenthood. With her personal experience in overcoming postpartum anxiety and depression, combined with her specialized training in perinatal mental health and Gottman couples therapy, Lauren brings a wealth of knowledge and empathy to her work. I don't know if you guys can't tell, I'm excited to have her here. What we're going to talk about today. Lauren's approach is all about creating a non judgmental, authentic space where her clients can truly express themselves, heal, and grow, whether it's helping new parents find their way or guiding couples to rekindle their connection. Lauren is dedicated to supporting others on their journeys. So I'm really looking forward, really looking forward to just getting insights and mental health tips about relationships and parenthood. So everybody, please welcome the Lauren Buckley.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was like the nicest introduction I've ever gotten for
Oh,
anything.
good,
Thank you.
good, good, good. Love it, love it, love it. So how are
Thank you.
you
Thank
doing
you.
today, Lauren?
Good. Just enjoying another snowy day here in,
Nice.
Connecticut. So that's
Nice
fun.
and chilly. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we're gonna hop into the questions from the top. So
Great.
before anything else, I know I kind of did my whole stalker thing and found all the things online to describe you and tell about you. But can you tell me about yourself, and specifically like your journey on what led you to specialize in working with new parents and couples?
Absolutely. So I began as a school counselor. I was a school counselor for 14 years, and along that 14 years, I got married. I had two kids. As you mentioned in the introduction, when I had my first, who is almost 11 now, which is
Oh,
crazy. Yeah, I experienced postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety and was very taken off guard by it. Did not expect that, kind of didn't even know to expect it, to be quite honest. And that really changed a lot for me. I started, it took a long time for me to get out of that experience. I had a great supportive husband who really helped me. I had a great therapist who helped a lot. And, so I kind of went on with life after that. But it was always in the back of my head of like, how am I, someone who was trained in the mental health field, how was I not aware that this was something that can affect someone so deeply? I mean, I was deeply depressed. I had thoughts of suicide.
mm,
And it kind of just always stuck in the back of my mind. So as I continued to work in the school system, I worked mostly in middle school, a couple of years in an elementary school. I started just kind of having this revelation of like, I'm working so hard with these students who need skills, but really I'm kind of missing the boat of giving their parents the skills that they need from a young, age before they even, are in elementary school and middle school. And there's so much skill work that could be done there. And I sort of just started taking a step back and saying, like, what do I really want to be doing? And so about 3 years ago, I decided to pursue my LPC. So I'm a licensed professional counselor now. And ultimately made the decision to leave the school system and open my own practice. And really, I loved working with teens, but I was ready for a new journey. And so I began really just focusing solely on perinatal counseling, so pregnancy through postpartum, and couples counseling, with the goal of really helping those couples who are in that postpartum stage, in that perinatal stage, in that early parenthood stage, and just getting my niche down to that area and really focusing on how we can build hopeful, healthy, and strong families so that in turn it does help all of those kids I was working with one day. If their parents can really be in a place that's good for them, that will translate to how the kids are being brought up as well.
yes. Okay. Excellent. And I think that's something I forgot. Lauren, you have a private practice. What's the name of the private practice?
So it's called Quiet Light Counseling.
White
Very
Light
calm
Counseling
name.
in Wilton, Connecticut, right?
Wilton, Connecticut. Yep.
Okay. I know something. I know something. Okay. So Lauren, what inspired you to become a therapist? Like, what attracted you to focusing on postpartum mental health? Because we know that you had it and you went through it, but as in seeing everything that happened and knowing how heavy it is, what? kept you still going in it? Like, okay, I had it, I want to help, I'm in it, and I'm seeing like the heaviness of it, but still, I'm still going for it. What kept you
Yeah.
going?
I really think it was the lack of resources that were available. Once I like kind of put together what was happening to me, it was very hard to find a therapist that was specialized.
Hmm.
And so I feel like there was the need there for more therapists who were specialized. And also, I feel like this is one of those things that until you've been through it, you really don't understand the depths of it. Everyone always tells us like becoming a parent is the best thing in the world. You're never going to be happier than when you become a mom or a dad, whatever.
Mm.
And so like to have that incongruency, I guess, of like I'm not actually happy is
Oh,
really, really, really difficult to deal with. Whether it's for, a mother or father or whoever, it's a very difficult feeling. It's a shameful feeling. And I
hmm.
never want anyone to go through that feeling like I'm alone, no one else understands me. Because I felt like I had no one, again, my husband was so supportive, but I felt like I had no one who truly understood me and understood how shamed I felt, how alone I felt. And so it became a passion of like I don't want any woman to ever have to feel like I felt.
So even when seeing it, what are your therapeutic approach to first engaging, like to getting them to that, they're in the room, so now what?
Really normalizing their experience. My first sessions are really that connection. Just you're not alone. I'm here. I understand on a personal level, and helping them see that there can be another side to it eventually. Because when you're in it, especially with postpartum depression or even postpartum OCD with a lot of intrusive thoughts, like you can't really see that other side. And so just giving them the hope, I think, is one of my first, things that I really get out there in those first couple of sessions, just building that rapport by even sharing some of my own journey. And so that they know I've been through this, I understand you deeply. And some of that psychoeducation too, of like how common it is and, you know, that it's not something to be ashamed of. It's actually society that should be ashamed in terms of like how little help we get as mothers and fathers, and just kind of taking that stigma away for them is really my goal in those first sessions.
Yeah, okay, that is so good just to be able to feel comfortable in your experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, that it's normal
absolutely.
that I'm feeling like this way. So,
Yeah.
how uh somebody out there listening right now, how do you make it feel personalized to them? Because it sometimes it's a couple that it may be a couple that's a part of the LGBTQIA community. Sometimes it's a couple who they had the baby and are divorced but trying to figure something out because have
Yeah.
they, like how do you make it comfortable for them and
Yeah.
personalized with their care?
Absolutely. So I think really like just letting them talk to me about their experience. I believe like in the first sessions, especially like a lot of that narrative experience of like, tell me from the beginning, like the first, kind of memory you have of when things started getting really hard. Like I do, especially when I have a couple in the room, I do a lot of that history of their own relationship, the history if they did have, pregnancy, postpartum struggles, anything like that. Just like get it all out there. Like, let's have the whole story unfold in front of me so that I can really be in it with them. I'm asking them clarifying questions about their experience. Just really getting to know them as people first. That's the thing. Like, if I go back to like my graduate training, I really was one of those like Rogerian therapists who was like people, person centered, people first. And so, really thinking about like putting myself into their shoes, putting myself into their experience, letting them tell me they are the ones who are experiencing it. They need to tell me what's going on. It's not for me to be projecting anything onto them. So, really just listening. It's just listening and hearing and validating and empathizing.
And that makes all the difference.
Yes.
So, with this, what is one myth about therapy that you wish people, particularly new parents or couples, would understand better?
Oh, I love this question because this actually has come up recently a few times with some couples and some other therapists. The biggest myth for couples therapy, I would say, is you only get to that point when you're about to get divorced.
Oh,
And I hate it. I hate that myth so much because I feel like it's out there, even in the therapy community, which is so weird to me that like that's out there, And I really look at couples therapy as like a proactive approach, not as
Mm.
like, we're ready to be out the door. This is our last ditch effort. I mean, sometimes, yeah, that's true. But
Very true.
I would say 99% of the time, and I'm not even exaggerating, it's proactive work of like, we've gotten into these cycles. How do we get out of it so that we can have the best marriage we possibly can have? Not, hey, we're just coming here to say we did this to get out the door now.
Yeah, that would be something else. Like, hey, can you save us now? Because
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not going to go right now. And you're like, actually, that's not how it works. But okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yep.
So, what's a typical concern that clients express to you when they first reach out to you?
Um, if it's like a couple that is, had just had a baby, or maybe they're a couple months in, I would say a lot of the times it is two things. It's, breakdown in their own relationship, like the things that they were used to in terms of the closeness they had. And the other big theme is always like division of labor in the house. That's something
Oh,
that almost always comes up with my couples who have newborns or even young kids. Typically a theme that comes up.
okay. So, when you talk about the division of labor, for those parents listening, is it just about the baby? Is it more than what things, for those who just had a baby or even have children, or what are the other invisible labor things that could be
Yes.
occurring? Yeah, what help us?
Yep. Yeah, so it's a lot about the mental load. It's a lot about like what goes into planning the things that have to be done each day to care for, the kids, to care for the household, to do all of those other tasks, that help the household run, like paying bills, working, all of those things that, we all have to do on a daily basis. It's really just breaking down like, here's our list of things that we have and like who's doing what and what does that actually mean. I work a lot I'm not certified in fair play. I would love to be one day, but I do a lot of fair play sort of work with my clients of like, if and if you haven't heard of fair play, it's awesome, and there's a whole documentary that you can watch on it that's great. But it's really saying like, let's look at everything that needs to be done to make our household run, to make our
Okay.
family run efficiently, and then who's in charge of what tasks. And being in charge means you conceptualize it, you plan it, and you
Ooh,
execute it. So it's not like one person is saying like, here's your list, now go do it. It's actually saying, I own this task. It's not on
ooh,
the other person to remind me of this. And so I
yes,
do a lot of that work with my couples, and that can get people really tripped up in a relationship. And so kind of taking that pressure off and saying like, this is an easy way to kind of divide this out. I also am a big believer like, things are never going to be 50-50. I say that probably every day with my couples. Like we all have different battery power on certain days depending on what's going on. So also that understanding of like, there's going to be days you're going to have to pull your weight more. There's going to be days where the other person's going to have to pull their weight more, and we have to try to get past the resentment that kind of creates sometimes and just be there for each other when we're having crappy days.
yeah.
Yeah.
That fair play sticks out to me because it feels like it's finally the moment. I can't even think of the word. What do they call it? Something incompetence, where it's popular online right now, where it's like the one spouse just can't seem to know. You don't know how to
Yeah.
do this. So just giving the full responsibility to something, it's like, yeah, this is fully your task, not
Totally.
a list and now complete it, and you don't have the excuse for that.
Yeah.
Lauren, good. Okay, yeah, that is good. So,
Yeah.
how do you make your clients feel safe from the beginning? There are a lot of people who are still like, I'm not going to therapy. I do not need therapy. That is for crazy people. That is for, fill in the blank. Like, what can you say, just based off what you've seen with your clients now, from the
Yeah.
beginning, like to end, to make them just feel comfortable about at least trying to start it?
I love this question too because this comes up a lot, and I'm not being stereotypical, but a lot of times this comes up with my male clients in the couples
Sure.
where they are sort of feeling, pressure from their wife to do counseling, and they're like, I've never been to therapy. Meanwhile, like maybe the woman has, and I have gotten nice feedback from a lot of my male clients of like, oh, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, which
Excellent.
I take very seriously because I think like I just help them see like I'm not going to judge you. I'm not here to tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm here to help facilitate a conversation and give you really good tools to help with that. And I'm also like a normal human being who has a husband that annoys me sometimes too. And like, I understand that dynamic. Everyone has their thing, like, no one's perfect. And so I think like one of the things that the couples who work with me can feel is that like I'm just a normal person too. I've experienced a lot of the same things they have, and there's never going to be judgment there. And I think I like try very hard to help them feel that from that first session, that sense of safety, that sense of non-judgment, and just we're all people. We're all just trying to do the best we can.
Yeah. So, with the postpartum like aspect, so let's say we have mom and dad who are, together. Some people still don't believe that dads go through a postpartum depression of their own. Can you just talk a little bit about that and what that could look like?
Absolutely. This is also something that is so overlooked, and it's like something I'm so passionate about because dads actually, there's, for females, it's about 1 out of 5 birthing mothers will experience a perinatal mood or anxiety disorder. For dads, it's 1 out of 10.
Oh,
So, a
okay.
lot of people don't know that stat that, dads are, also likely to sometimes experience a perinatal mood or anxiety disorder. So it's also normalizing that for my male clients. And there's a lot of statistics out there also that when mom is not doing well, the spouse, the male spouse, is usually about 3 times more likely to also develop depression or anxiety.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it's very tied together because think of like the stress that this is causing when you're watching your wife go through all of this. It's going to cause stress, it's going to cause anxiety, it's going to possibly even cause depression. And so I think it's very important. There's also, interestingly, hormonal changes that happen in men
Hmm.
after the birth of a child that have to do with their testosterone. And I'm not a scientist, but it has to do with dips in testosterone hormonally after the birth of a child that can onset some perinatal mood or anxiety disorders in men as well. And so a lot of when I like meet with other therapists or other therapy groups, I try to educate that like this is something we have to be looking out for in fathers as well. It's
Yeah.
not uncommon in fathers either.
What does it look like? Like, what can the mom or the other parent be looking for?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like, what does it look like practically?
For men typically, or are you saying in
Yeah.
general? For
For
men.
men, for men.
It depends. I mean, it's different sometimes. Sometimes it is the typical symptoms of depression, of like withdrawal, of sadness, of crying. Sometimes, when this is just my like anecdotal kind of data from what I see, sometimes it becomes more of anger that's coming out, and I think that's from the helpless feeling of like
Mm.
watching what's unfolding in front of you and feeling like you don't have power to help the situation. So sometimes there's angry responses that come out. I see a lot of times this is where substance use also starts to increase for men. And again, that's just my anecdotal stuff that I'm seeing. I don't know if there's research behind that or not, but I do see and I hear from a lot of my couples, he's going into the basement at night and drinking, and that's how he's been coping. And so I think that's a big red flag to look out for if there's an increase in any sort of substance use after the birth of a child.
Hmm. And for the more popular one, what does it look like for mom? Because sometimes it seems like women just take on the world, and it's just like
Yes.
nobody's like, oh, she has it together. She has the
Yeah.
baby. Good. But what
Yeah.
does it look like on mom?
Yeah, and you hit on a big thing there. Women are really good at hiding it. Um, so it really it's almost the typical signs of depression that you would be looking out for, and really looking closely in those moments where mom's not trying to put it to, all together, have it all together for everyone else, but frequent crying, I mean, everyone's exhausted after they have a baby, but like maybe really not being able to get out of that exhaustion even when you can get sleep. um, Fear of leaving the house. Like a lot of times when I have a woman that I'm working with that has, perinatal or postpartum anxiety, it's really like, I can't leave the house, I can't go places, I can't get out, I'm too afraid of what might happen to me, to the baby, and really having that, or germs even, like having,
Mm.
too much of one of those fears that it prevents you from doing anything. Um, intrusive thoughts as well. Intrusive thoughts are actually normal up to a point in the postpartum period, but when you start having the thoughts that prevent you from then being able to do the things that are normal, that's when it becomes a problem to look out for too. So those thoughts that are like, something bad's gonna happen, baby's not safe, I'm not safe, there's something medically wrong, like, running to the doctor every, week because you think something's wrong, that's another sign to look out for.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So there's a list for moms. If you do see that and you're watching this, just understand that it can be that and so much more, but those
So
are
much more.
ones that you are seeing. So, Lauren, can we
Yes.
talk about your practice a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Can you tell us what sets your practice apart from others?
Think really this focus area of really being honed in on the experience that new parents are having as a couple. I tried to niche down to this on purpose because I really want couples to feel like there is someone who understands this stage of life for us and can give us tools that are practical, that are easy to implement, that can get us to a better place where we can see results quickly. Because when you're a new parent, the last thing you want to do is like be in talk therapy for 2 years trying to figure this out. You want like actionable, quick results. So I think that's what sets mine apart is like I am hyper focused on this stage of life and I'm going to give you tools where if you implement them, you're going to see results quickly. It's not going to take years to see results.
Okay, excellent. Because a lot of times, with men, I feel like they want solution focused therapy. Like, give me the
Yeah.
solutions, and if I can do the task, if you tell me step one, two, and three, and that's going to get me, I can do that. So I think
Yes.
that the men will definitely love to hear that part. So if you
Yeah.
see Lauren, just know that you're going to get the solutions that you need, and she's not trying to keep you for years on end. She's looking for
No.
you now. We're looking for help now.
Yes.
So with that, what would you say to a couple who is hesitant to start because they have never done it before and did not think that they would be in a space like this?
It's scary to reach out for the first time, obviously, or it's scary to take that leap. But even just trying an intake session, I also offer like video consults, because I think that
Oh,
makes people feel more comfortable sometimes
yes.
than a phone consult. Um, so even just reaching out and like taking that leap of like, let me see if this is someone we feel like we can connect with is really important. And even if you do an intake, if you do a consult, you don't feel comfortable, like there's going to be someone out there that you can feel comfortable with. It might take a couple of times, which is frustrating, I know, for people, but I really believe that like you got to just take that leap of faith of getting your foot in the door somewhere, whether it's the consult or an intake appointment, and just trying it out and seeing how it feels and seeing how it goes.
Excellent. Okay. I would have you. I'd hire you. You can be my
Thank
therapist.
you.
Okay.
I
Warm,
appreciate
sympathetic.
that. Thank you.
So let's talk about you in therapy, providing therapy. What do you feel is the most rewarding part of the work that you do with couples, moms, dads?
I think seeing the progress a couple can make from when they're in just a place where they feel very hopeless to then seeing them come out on the other side and feel like we are connected. We feel like we're friends again, because that's really
Oh,
the
yeah.
basis of a couple being connected. We like each other again. There's oftentimes, I'm like the therapist too, where there's oftentimes in sessions where like I'll have a couple having like a really nice emotional intimate moment where they come to a realization and I'm like trying to hide that I'm getting teary eyed. Like I'm the therapist who like I feel so deeply when my couples are making progress and they know it. Like they can sense that and they know it. And so, I think like that's a big piece of like what really makes me feel like rewarded as a therapist is when I just like can see things building back, and I can see again like my practice is really built around that word hope. Like I want to provide people hope. I want them to leave feeling hopeful. I want them to leave feeling stronger as a family unit. We need strong families in this society. And like when I see that occurring, I get the good feelings on the inside.
Yes, yes. And see, that's what I love about you, Lauren, is that not only are you like, okay, I'm a therapist, this is what I do, I'm here to help, but it's like I'm literally here on the journey with you. I feel
Yes.
for you. The empathy is there. I really want you to get to the other side, to be friends, to be a happy mom, happy dad, and feel like that load is maybe not
Yep.
completely even, but enough that you both feel, balanced out.
Yes, absolutely.
So in carrying all of that, Lauren, how do you take care of your own mental health with carrying the burden of so many couples and families?
I try very hard to make sure that I am like getting active and like exercising when I can. I mean, again, I have my own family, so sometimes things get in the way, but making sure that like exercise is something that really does help clear my mind. So I try to keep up with making sure that I'm taking care of my own body so that I can take care of my own mind. As I've mentioned, I have a really great husband who's a wonderful support to me. So I lean on him a lot. I lean on my therapist friends a lot too,
Mm,
because they actually, are the ones who truly understand
yeah.
what, this world kind of feels like. And so, leaning on my own support system, taking care of my mind, my body is really what keeps me going. Um, I use a lot of the same techniques I give my clients. I do CBT and DBT a lot with my perinatal clients, especially. So I'm using a lot of those techniques for myself too, to just make sure I'm in a good mental health, mental space for me.
She practices what she preaches, okay?
Yes. Yep. I believe in it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So last one. What's one
Sure.
piece of advice you like to leave with the audience today, particularly for those who may be struggling with postpartum depression, anxiety, and relationship issues?
I think, if you are not already receiving help, there is help out there. And I know it's frustrating when it takes a while to find someone or you reach out and people don't answer or people are full, but like, please keep trying because there is going to be someone out there who's a really good match. And once you get started and started with someone who's a good match for you, that relief really could be immediate. And the biggest thing too is just that message of you're not alone. Like,
Mm,
people are out there to help you, people understand. And I think especially with postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression, it carries that stigma. Sometimes it carries that shame. And I never want any woman to feel the way I felt when I went through it. And so like, you are not alone. Like, you have someone like me who understands. I have a network of people who also understand that if we're not a good fit, I can send you to someone else. You're not alone. Like, that is the biggest thing, whether it's the postpartum piece, whether it's a couple struggling and there's shame or stigma around that. Like,
yeah.
there is hope on the other side. You just have to, unfortunately, you have to find it, and you have to be a little bit aggressive sometimes to find it and find the right person. But there is someone that is there to help you and can help you. And you can come out on the other side so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lauren, with that, do you have openings right now for people?
I do. I actually like just graduated a couple of people from therapy, which is exciting. And so I do have some openings. I have daytime openings and I have a couple of evening openings. My evenings are a little more limited, but I do have a couple right now. So yes, if anyone would like to get in touch, I certainly have openings. It has to be a Connecticut resident because I'm licensed in Connecticut. So I do telehealth or in person if you're anywhere around Fairfield County. I'm in Wilton. So, absolutely.
Okay, and just give the information of how to reach, please.
Sure. So, my website is Quiet Light Counseling. If anyone wants to email me directly, it's quietlightcounseling@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at Quiet Light Counseling as well, or on Facebook. So, any of those ways are great ways to reach out. And I always tell people, like, it's my practice. You will hear directly back from me. You will hear back from me within 24 hours, I promise. Because that's big to me too, is like not, being that person who doesn't respond or you never hear back from. You will hear back probably in less than 24 hours.
Hmm. Excellent. Lauren, thank you so much today for joining us and just sharing all of the knowledge that you have, and also just providing empathy for those who are watching, going through this right now. The main thing that I took away from you today is definitely that you really do understand what these people are going through, which
Yes.
is going to be a dynamic piece of receiving therapy from you. And with that, I hope that you all understand that Lauren really is telling you you are not alone. She said that she called
Hmm.
back in less than 24 hours. So if you need to get in, there is help that is there, not only online, but in person if you are close to her. So again, Lauren, thank you, thank you, thank you for the work that you do.
Of
And thank
course.
you for joining me here today.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate this opportunity, and you're awesome to talk to. So thank you so incredibly much.
Okay, perfect. All right, y'all. I will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us on Tools for Success Counseling.